Check 1, 2. Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Super Wild Card Weekend update show and podcast. We're going to talk about the early game that you just saw between the Texans and Chargers. We'll talk about tonight's game between the Ravens and Steelers. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 Super Wild Card trivia question. This season, Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey facing off in a wild card round became the second and third rookie running backs in NFL history to have 80 plus catches in a season. Who did they join? I will have the answer later in the podcast. Uh, and right now we are going to talk about the game you just saw between the Houston Texans and the Los Angeles Chargers. Eric Murray returned one of Justin Herbert's career-high 4 interceptions for a touchdown. C.J. Stroud threw a TD pass, and the Houston Texans rolled past the Los Angeles Chargers 32-12 in a wild card playoff game today. And so the Texans advance, and the Chargers offseason will begin. It's the second straight year Stroud and the Texans, who are 11-7, won in the first round after they beat Cleveland last season. Herbert threw just 3 interceptions in the regular season and had never thrown more than 2 in a game before facing a Texans secondary led by All-Pro cornerback Derek Stingley, who had 2 interceptions. Rookie Kamari Lassiter had the other pick. The Chargers, who fought 11-7, who returned to the playoffs under first-year coach Jim Harbaugh, lost in the wild card round for a second straight time after also losing in the 2022 season to remain without a postseason win since 2018. Stroud threw for 282 yards with a touchdown pass to Nico Collins and an interception. Stroud joined Pittsburgh's Ben Roethlisberger, Baltimore's Joe Flacco, and the New York Jets' Mark Sanchez, and Seattle's Russell Wilson, and San Francisco's Brock Purdy as quarterbacks who win playoff starts in each of their first 2 seasons. Collins finished with 7 catches for 122 yards. Joe Mixon ran for 106 yards and a score. D'Angelo Ross returned a blocked punt for 2 points for Houston. In the fourth quarter, Herbert was 14 of 32 carries and attempts for 242 yards with a 40.9 passer rating. Things looked bad early for the Texans, who fumbled on their first offensive play and were down 6-0 with about a minute left in the first half. But Stroud threw a 13-yard touchdown pass to Collins and put the Texans on top. Kahimi Fairburn added a 41-yard field goal to give Houston a 10-6 lead into halftime. They were up 13-6 when Murray scored his first career touchdown on a 38-yard interception returned late in the third quarter. Herbert was picked off again on the next drive when Stingley grabbed a pass that was tipped off tightly off tight end Will Dissly. The third overall pick in the 2022 draft intercepted Herbert again late in the fourth quarter. Herbert found Ladd McConkey for an 86-yard touchdown reception to cut the Chargers' deficit to 23-12 in the fourth quarter, but Cameron Dicker's extra point attempt was blocked and returned by Ross to make it 25-12. A 17-yard run by Mixon extended Houston's advantage to 32-12 with about 4 minutes to go. The Chargers were up by 3 after a field goal on the first drive when John Mechie fumbled after a catch on Houston's first offensive play, and it was recovered by Derwin James. Clicker added a 39-yard field goal on the ensuing drive to make it 6-0. Dane Leonard intercepted Stroud early in the second quarter, but Lassiter picked off Herbert on the next play to give Houston the ball back, but the Texans couldn't move the ball and punted. Stroud and Houston's offense finally got something going. Houston was facing 3rd and 16 from its 17 when Stroud fumbled the snap, and it rolled 4 yards behind him. He scooped it up and evaded the rush to find Xavier Hutchinson for a 34-yard gain. Stroud connected with Collins on a 37-yard reception. 2 plays later to get the Texans in the red zone, he found Collins again on 3rd and 11 to put Houston on top 7-6 about a minute before halftime. The Texans forced a punt to get the ball back with 27 seconds left in the second quarter. A season-best 27-yard run by Stroud got the Texans to the Los Angeles 36. The quarterback beat his chest and screamed after taking a hard hit at the end of the run. And Chargers linebacker Denzel Perryman injured an elbow in the first quarter and did not return. Quarterback Cam Hart injured his shoulder. Well, the Texans move on to the divisional round for the 6th time. Well, they'll try to advance to the AFC Championship game for the first time in franchise history. And boy, Houston really they started out shaky, but they got it going and played really well. And Herbert just struggled after that 6-0 lead, and they just could not. And the Chargers just couldn't get over that hurdle, and they just were not able to catch up. And because they had a lot of plays that were picked, and right now I've got to give the game balls to the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud, 22 of 33 carries and attempts, 282 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Joe Mixon, 25 attempts, 1 touchdown, 106 yards. And Nico Collins, 7 receptions, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. So they get the game balls. Now the Chargers, their off season will begin. We'll get that underway, and the Texans will move on to the divisional round of the playoffs. And we will talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers Baltimore Ravens game in just a moment. But right now, it's time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 Super Wild Card Weekend trivia question. In this season, Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey facing off in wild card round became the second and third rookie running backs in NFL history to have 80-plus catches in a season. Who did they join? And if you said Reggie Bush, you are correct. Reggie Bush had 88 catches in 2006. And I will have another trivia question on my next podcast, which will be for tomorrow's wild card games. And so stay tuned for that. Well, in the late game right now, it's the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Baltimore's up 7-0 with 12:05 to go in the second quarter till halftime. First and 10 at the Baltimore 16. The Ravens have the ball. And that game is being played at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Lamar Jackson's pursuit of an elusive AFC championship starts today against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers have already beaten the Ravens once this season. They won 18-16 on November 17th in what was a really close, intense game. They flustered Lamar Jackson into completing just 16 of 33 passes. The Steelers have had success against Jackson before. The Ravens won the Week 16 rematch. They had lost 4 of Jackson's 5 career starts against the Steelers, and he had just 5 passing touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Jackson played well against the Steelers in the Ravens' 34-17 win a few weeks ago, but they've shown they can force Jackson into mistakes better than any other opponent. A few mistakes early, and perhaps Jackson starts to feel some of that playoff pressure again. And if both Jackson and Derrick Henry are both clicking in the same directions, the Ravens can be dangerous, and it could be a long night for the Steelers. So we'll have to see. Can the Steelers come away with this win, or can they, or do they, or will their offseason begin in Baltimore will come away with the win? It's the number 6 seed and the number 3 seed that are facing off right now, and it was first and 10 at the Baltimore 15. Derrick Henry left end to the Baltimore 16 for 1 yard. So that's where we stand right now. And so there's about 12:05 to go to halftime. 2nd and 9 at the Baltimore 16. And the Ravens have the ball. We've got a plethora of football. We've got wild card games tomorrow, 3 of them. In the early game, you will see the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. Bills are the number 2 seed. The Broncos are the number 7 seed. And by the way, I took Houston for the Houston Texans Chargers game. LA Chargers game. So did my brother-in-law, and we picked the exact same teams to win. So we're going to end up in a tie. And I've taken Baltimore for this game, and so has my brother-in-law, Eric Hoyle. Now, and I've taken Buffalo for tomorrow's game. Actually, you'll get those tomorrow. And in the late game tomorrow, the late wild card game, the late game, the Green Bay Packers are at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are the number, I think, 2 seed, and Packers are number 7, something like that, or the number 3 and 8 seed. I can't remember. And I think Philly will get the win despite their injuries. Sunday Night Football wildcard game. This is the last Sunday Night Football game of the season. It's the Washington Commanders taking on Baker Mayfield and the Bucks at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay. The 3 and 6 seeds battle it out tomorrow, and Monday Night Football wildcard game, and it's the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams. It was originally supposed to be played at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, but because of the wildfires there, it has been moved to State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. So it'll be played in Arizona, not in Inglewood, California at SoFi. So I'm going. We both take Minnesota, and so we'll see how this wild card weekend will pan out. So, but Houston Texans win today, 32-12 over the LA Chargers. They advance to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 Super Wild Card Weekend Saturday update show. And I will be back with the post-game show. You'll probably get that. You'll probably find out who won tomorrow when I do my early game pregame show. or it may end up being an aftershow because I do have to work tomorrow. Until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day and every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.